Hey guys, welcome back to TradFi and Bitcoin Club. So this is the part 2 of Metaplanet preferred stocks. Basically, we covered preferred stocks last time, but I think these metrics, BTC yield, BTC gain, BTC dollar gain, I think we need to revisit this and understand more of it like in much better manner. That's the reason why I think I thought to take like do one more session here, and then maybe this is also relevant with big companies like MicroStrategy and going forward with maybe SWC and Capital B as well. So like I mean, preferred stocks is the way for most of the Bitcoin treasury companies to capitalize on the fixed income market in their respective jurisdictions. So, yeah, I mean, this will help, these metrics will more or less help us to maybe understand, and I will like switch into sometimes I will go into strategy, sometimes I will go into Metaplanet. So this will be more of a general kind of a thing, and also there are some updates from Metaplanet side, and these are big updates. So maybe I will start first with updates, and then what I will do is then we will go back to our metrics. So Metaplanet had their EGM. EGM is basically extraordinary general meeting for the people who don't know, and they have like the EGM was for basically these three things: increase in total number of authorized shares, virtual shareholder meetings, and new provisions for perpetual preferred shares. So all these three things which they put into for vote in their EGM, all have been approved by shareholders. So now they are open to launch their perpetual preferred shares. Uh, so yeah, this is one of the update, and like they bought some 1000 BTC yesterday. This is not uh, a major update, but yeah, this one. So there's an interesting thing happening with Metaplanet. To the people who don't know about Metaplanet, or just to give a brief about Metaplanet, is like Metaplanet is a Japanese Bitcoin treasury company, and like they are largest Bitcoin treasury company, and currently as of now they are sixth largest in the whole world with 20,000 Bitcoins. And now something crazy is happening in their end. Like they have launched this international offering of new shares. So this offering is basically I mean, this is so crazy. Like they will raise an amount, given the fact that Bitcoin remains uh, at these levels, and also their stock price remains at let me just open their analytics page. Their stock price remains where it is. So as of now, stock price is at 853 yen, and Bitcoin is at $111,488. So if these things remain nearly more or less similar where it is right now, then I mean a very big thing is going to happen in the next week. So here, if you can see, yeah. So they have announced new 555 million shares offering, which will go in just 2 days. Like this is crazy. Like out of the 555 million, 180 million are is guaranteed by the underwriter. So basically, the investment bank 180 million shares of common stock of the company to be underwritten and purchased by the underwriter. So this is 100% guaranteed. Like 180 million shares are 100% being purchased by the underwriter. So they already have 180 million demand right now, and this is huge. So if you do some maths, run some maths, then they are raising approximately 840 million in just 2 days, from 9th of September to 11th of September. So this international offering is focused on international institutional investors, which will be investing into Metaplanet. And this international offering, think of it as an FPO. Basically, those who are aware about Indian markets, FPO is something similar, but FPO for international investors. So this is something like it. FPO for international investors is international offering, which what they are calling it. And on top of this 180 million, 375 million extra shares may be additionally underwritten by the underwriters as demand. Like it will be based on demand. So if they have demand, then this 375 million will be will be bought by them. So even if you consider 180 million and multiply with current price, approximately 840 million uh, of new money is being raised in just 2 days for a scale of a company who has 20,000 bitcoins. Their bitcoin nav is 2.2 billion, and that company is raising 800 million. Just imagine, like this is crazy. Like when I first read this news, I was like, wow, I mean, what are these guys doing? um so this is crazy. If 180 million get subscribed, then they will have the cash to buy at least 7,000 bitcoin, given the fact that bitcoin price remains where it is and their share price remains where it is. So the terms and conditions are there for this. Yeah, if share price goes up, then at 40 million will, like, they can raise 1 billion also. And if share price goes down, then maybe 500 million or 400 million. But as of now, where the share price is sitting right now, they will raise cash worth 7,000, approximately 7,000, 7,500 bitcoin. So it will give the bitcoin yield a crazy uh, it will give you a crazy bitcoin yield. And literally they will go from 20,000 to 27,500 in just matter of 2 days, like from 2 days raising. So from my point of view, this is crazy. And there are also this green shoe option of 375 million. um, let's say if they raise this also, then they will have around 2.5 billion, 2.5 billion, which means I mean they can buy literally 20,000 bitcoins.
They got what type of shares are they offering?
3350, no, common stock.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So this is Bala basically for international investors. This is international offering. So this has a window from 9th of September to 11th of September. Maybe here they have mentioned, yeah, from September 9th to September 11th. So they, in these 2 trading days, they will be raising this much amount of capital. So I thought that this should be I think I should convey you to this news to you guys. And from my point, I think this is crazy amount of raising by a company given their size. So yeah, where if you compare it with MicroStrategy and all, then it's minuscule. Like MicroStrategy raised 400 million, like they announced 400 million, 425 or something by today. But given the fact that they are currently they have Bitcoin NAV of 2.2 billion. Bitcoin NAV is basically the number of Bitcoins multiplied by the Bitcoin's price in dollar. So that gives you Bitcoin net asset value of around 2.2 billion. And if this 375 million extra gets subscribed, then they literally can buy the whole whole stock of Bitcoin, which they bought it in starting from April 2024. So nearly 1.5 year. It took 1.5 year to for Metaplanet to buy 20,000 Bitcoin, and now if everything goes well and maybe 375 million also get subscribed, then they can buy again 20,000 new Bitcoins, fresh Bitcoins. But I mean, don't consider this case, just go with 180 million, being conservative here. Yeah, this was one of the update. And basically, yeah, I think these were the two updates. Yeah, and on the preferred stocks, I think I have covered this thing in the last session. So these perpetual preferred stocks, let me go to the, yeah. In case of perpetual preferred stocks, which they have right now, they have a target cap of 25% Bitcoin NAV. So they have 2.2 billion Bitcoin NAV, and they will uh, they can issue preferred stocks worth 25% of their Bitcoin NAV. So approx 500 million of preferreds. And there's one more thing which I was reading about them is their Bitcoin income generation strategy. I'm not sure if they have their Bitcoin income generation here. So basically, they are selling cash secured puts in Bitcoin income generation strategy, and whatever income which they are making here. So it's a jurisdictional kind of a thing. So in Japan, um, for a company, you can't give dividends by issuing your common stock. I was doing some research on Metaplanet, and there I found out that in Japan there's this thing where you can give dividend by issuing your common stock, and this is the reason why they are doing this Bitcoin income generation strategy, where they are generating income of around I think there's some number here, but as of now, Bitcoin income generation. Yeah, Bitcoin income generation. Here it is. So this number is in JPY in millions. Maybe we have to convert it in dollars, but this income is, as of now, this income is like 70 to 80% to pay off their dividends, assuming the fact that the dividends which they give on their Class A and Class B shares is 6%. So yeah, here Class A and Class B. Yeah, this one. So they have two classes of like it's planned, like it's not live as of now, but they are planning to have Class A and Class B, two types of shares. So if 6%, that if they can raise 6% and 25% of Bitcoin NAV preferred stock, and that preferred stock has 6% dividend, then as of now they have enough amount of money from Bitcoin income generation to pay these dividends. So this is doable in Japanese jurisdiction as well. These two were updates from our last session of Japanese preferreds. And I was doing some research. I had chat with Bala in TradFi and Bitcoin channel. Make sure guys that you keep checking TradFi and Bitcoin channel, because we keep posting some links also in the channel as well. So there we were discussing around the unwinding of fixed income market. So I was going through this Kobesi letter. Maybe if I can open that and have some chat around that also. So currently the macro situation in the UK, and not in UK only, but in nearly every Western nation, it's not good. And from a bond market perspective, the fixed income market has started to unwind. Basically, I want to take you back to the Venn diagram. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin treasuries, then you should have knowledge about three things. First one is Bitcoin, second one is security analysis, and third one is fixed income market. So this fixed income market is unwinding after COVID. So after COVID, market has understood that these yields are not um, these yields are not worth to take risk. So if we are buying these 30-year bonds, then the risk reward is not making sense, and market has started to understand this fact. Yeah, I was searching for this UK bond. So as you can see, the today the yield on a 30-year UK rose to 5.64, and currently it's 5.7. I have read somewhere. And most people don't realize how bad this fiscal picture is for UK. Spending is set to cross 60% of GDP compared to 53% during pandemic. So they are spending more than what they spent during pandemic. If you guys are not aware, during pandemic, every Western nation had this what do we say, that this $1,200 paychecks, you are getting it directly from government if you are unemployed. There is a specific term, I'm not remembering that term as of now, but yeah. So every government, the $1,200 which I'm talking about is related to US, but every Western nation was giving some free money to the people. And compared to that levels, the spending right now is have crossed COVID spending. So this is crazy. And as a result, UK is facing a mountain of national debt. By 2073, they will so this is a long into the future, but by 2073 the UK debt to GDP will be to 274%. Meanwhile, inflation is back on the rise. So for the people who don't know about these rates and inflation relation, so the rational thing for central banks to do right now, in these inflation is rising, right? So the rational thing is do not do rate cuts, or increase rates. So currently the opposite scenario is playing. Banks are cutting rates and inflation is also rising. So in whatever rules which they have made, according to that rules, they should at least not do the rate cut, or they should increase the interest rates. But because they need to refinance their loans, and they can't pay high interest on their bonds, they are decreasing rates. So this is something weird happening right now. And GDP factors are not supporting. And here you can see UK, US, Japan, every treasury is going, yields are going up for every treasury. And if yields are going up, the bonds will crash. Like understand it from like this. For example, $100 bond has a 10% yield, so $10 dividend. But the market is not happy with $10 dividend. They want 11% yield. So what happens? $100 you get yield of 10% on $10 dividend. Like dividend will stay $10, but still the bond price will crash so that you get 11%. So you have to basically calculate of what 10% of what $10 is 11%. So basically 90 or something, maybe 10 divided by 90, so it's 11.11. So maybe 91, then bond should crash to 91 if market is expecting 11% yield. So something similar is happening right now. Like market is expecting higher yield, and if these yields go higher, the bond market will start crashing. And this is crazy. So I was trying to link this with Bitcoin treasuries and their preferred stocks which they are issuing right now. So if you see this in comparison to the preferred stocks are kind of much better, like they have much better position right now. So in case of Metaplanet, if Metaplanet issues 500 million worth of new preferred stocks, or let's start with 100 million. Currently they have 40 million of debt outstanding and their Bitcoin NAV is 2.2 billion. Let's say we added 100 million of preferreds, so now we have 140 million of debt and 2.2 billion of Bitcoin NAV. So 2.2 divided by 0.14, so it gives me BTC rating of 15 times. So BTC rating is basically how much extra Bitcoin NAV you have as compared to your debt. So even if Metaplanet raises 100 million out of their preferred stocks, they still have 15 times more Bitcoin to pay off that debt. And when you go to these governments, like they are literally refinancing it, like they don't have anything in backing. uh, so this is like I will go back to Preston Peace again, and wherein he said about Bitcoin treasuries. The Ponzi involved here is fiat and not these treasuries. So this fiat treasuries are just building um, liabilities with fiat, and on the asset sides they are buying this um, hardest asset on earth, which is Bitcoin. So this is the game which we are going into. uh, yeah, so that's these two things were update. We are at 8:30 midpoint. If till now if you have any doubt, feel free to ask, or else we will continue with these metrics.
I just had one short question, Digant. Do you think
Yeah.
the success of Metaplanet also has to do with their background in hotel and media? Do you think that's connected to their success story?
No. No. Basically, Shreyan, their success is tied up with how fast and how efficiently they can raise capital. So Bitcoin treasury companies are in a continuous loop of raising capital. Unless and until they raise capital, Bitcoin yield is not happening. So hotel and media, I don't think. I mean, media might make some sense, but hotel, I mean, they literally just have one hotel. So the revenues which they are making and going forward, it will make lesser sense going forward. Similar in case of strategy, their IT business is not even $1 billion and their market cap is 100 billion or more than 100 billion.
Also, they were not into media. They bought Bitcoin magazine after
Yeah,
becoming
yeah,
Bitcoin
they
treasury
were not
company.
into media. Yeah.
Their success, I mean, from a little bit of what I've heard, their success could be because of apparently they're pretty good at picking the local lows or the local minimas.
Yeah,
If you see this guy, Michael Saylor is known for buying the top. Even when he's buying, he apparently, people say he's buying the weekly top or the monthly
yeah,
tops. But Metaplanet apparently is very good at procuring it at the good price. They almost always make big buys at the lower wicks. In fact, when the during the tariff tantrum, when the Bitcoin prices fell to 75K, and so they made a big buy, and apparently their buy was the lowest buy. Uh, they got a buy which is lower than they quoted a buy price, or they published a buy price which is lower than what was seen in most exchanges. So they kind of got a block deal somewhere which is just lower than the lowest price that you saw.
yeah.
That's one.
Yeah,
The other, what I like is also the fact that this income generation strategy that they have, right? I'm
yeah.
quite liking that, and I think that gives them a means to pay dividends, pay preferred stocks, whatever, right? Whatever fixed income obligations they might have.
Hmm.
Uh, it comes at a cost of dilution, at a risk of dilution of Bitcoin. But at least there is a it's yeah, the upside could be limited for shareholders, but I think it does give some kind of a protection on the lower side, also, right? And an income.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Also, I was doing some research on Japanese regulatory point of view. There they mentioned, like, in Japan, like similar to Sailor, they can't do that thing, like they can't issue common stock and pay preferred dividend. So this is one thing which I came into it, like, and that's the reason why they have their Bitcoin income generation strategy.
yeah, and probably on the other side, Sailor can't do an income generation strategy in United States, I think, because it's questionable, right? It's a treasury asset which you hold. I don't, you're not expected to hedge it, or you're not expected to speculate with it.
I'm not aware about the US laws, but I was doing this thing earlier today on Metaplanet. So there I came to know that these guys can't pay dividends with their 3350 common share. So this thing, I think, makes sense for them as well. And I think one more cap which they have put on themselves is to have 25%, max 25% of their Bitcoin NAV into preferred stocks, because the current income which they are generating from this Bitcoin income generation literally supports that only amount of preferreds. So they literally can't go above 25%. So they are planning it smart, and this Simon Gerovich, the CEO of Metaplanet, earlier his career was into derivatives trading. So he is into the markets. He knows how to generate um, income from these options and all. This is risky, but yeah, for someone who has experience um, in it, I mean, they can do it. Also, execution risk still remains, but yeah. So my screen is not visible because I am here in Discord, and I will go back once the questions are over.
And I think Bitcoin ETF is still not approved in Japan, right? So
Yeah,
income can still
yeah.
like can go on
And
maybe for
also,
a much longer time, right? Because I mean, simply a vehicle, still a very valid vehicle,
hmm,
and only ways to get it through the equity ramps, right?
yeah, and
Equity.
tax arbitrage is also huge, Fineng, for Metaplanet.
Yes.
55% tax is on Bitcoin. Crazy.
Yeah, and which makes you say Japan is actually not friendly pro Bitcoin, right? They don't want it to come into their system, which is
Yeah.
why they're taxing it so such a hostile way.
Hmm.
And I don't think they'll approve ETF anytime soon. That explains why the ETF is not approved yet.
Yeah. On that side, Fineng, are you aware about the UK situation? I heard.
UK, They have announced it that the Bitcoin ETF will hit London retail in London in the October.
Yeah.
So a month
Mm.
from now, 2nd of October or something, or big first week of October is what I heard.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much demand it's going to be. I've been reading saying, oh, it's going to be a big pool of capital, UK global financial capital, blah blah blah. But I am not. I think US ETF was probably the biggest pump you could get, and a lot of people have front run that opportunity, right? Yeah, I'll be curious to see what it does.
Yeah. True. True.
And UK retail, I don't know how big of a can be.
Like because you have worked your life in UK, that's the reason why I asked you this.
Yeah, as far as I know, when I left UK, nobody was waiting for the Bitcoin ETF. Or at least see, the thing is the other ramps are wide open in UK. So for anybody who wanted to buy Bitcoin, there were ways, right? People who knew about it have
Hmm.
bought it, and now I think the latecomers are going to join. Uh, there will probably see, it's good because over time institutional location will start and all that, right? So once retail gets it's always a nice thing. I'm just not sure how much capital is there in UK nowadays or in London nowadays for these kind of investment relative to United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, why I'm asking this because there's one UK Bitcoin treasury company known as Smarter Web Company. So they also had this crazy MNAV of 2025 back 2 months back, and being like UK will launch their ETF, I think things will start get difficult for them because earlier they were enjoying their this position of no ETF, no exposure. So the future might be tough or might be, I mean, as MicroStrategy also went up even after the start of Bitcoin ETF in the US, same situation can play out. But I mean, but ETF might hit some demand out of the Bitcoin treasuries which already exist in the jurisdiction. This is what I agree with you, Feneng.
Yes, for sure. I mean, see, right now, for even for anyone in UK, let's take my case, right? Some of
Yeah.
my money is sitting in a tax wrapper in UK, which is what they call as an individual savings allowance or something. Anything
Mm.
you invest through that account is basically free of capital gains in the UK.
Yeah.
So every year people contribute to that and then invest from it, right? And most of the money there chases US equities.
Yeah.
Nobody invests in FTSE, nobody invests in UK companies.
Mm.
People always either invest in Max and whatever, right? People, and it's most of the capital is going into US, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now a lot, and then the way I would have got exposure to Bitcoin through this capital or this pocket of my capital is either by MSTR or any other proxy, equity proxy I could think of, right? To me, that proxy was not MSTR for whatever reason. It was always Coinbase. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
I and then in some way Coinbase had a very good correlation to Bitcoin. Coinbase, in fact, had a amplified, what we call as a beta, right? Bitcoin, it would move up typically more than Bitcoin moves. It will move down also more than Bitcoin moves, which I think is explainable because Coinbase is an exchange. It makes money by people buying and selling all coins, but predominantly Bitcoins, right? I'm sure the largest traded volumes on Coinbase is also Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
their commissions come as a cut of Bitcoin price. So if Bitcoin price goes up, their commissions go up. They have a fixed cost, so that's where the beta comes, right? After they have recovered their fixed costs, they can potentially make more gains than they can beat Bitcoin because they're just getting the gains of every trade with no extra capital.
Mm.
Uh, but for a lot of people, maybe a much cleaner proxy is MSTR. To be honest, it's debatable what is a good proxy, but uh, Yeah, so all that capital will now look to leave and go into the ETF because it's a more plain vanilla way of getting it. And now MSTR is not even delivering, right? Uh, if MSTR is still delivering, if the MNAV is increasing, if shareholders are making more, then yes, I think that money would have stayed with MSCR in anticipation of more NAV expansion, MNAV expansion.
Yeah.
Now, or even if there was no MNAV expansion, in a hope that it might happen in the future, right? But now, once the ETF is out, there is an alternative. So a lot of capital will leave for sure. If my money was in MSTR, it would have left MSTR now to go into the ETF.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with most of the part. Uh, so if like let's just get back to our uh, the key metrics. So in the last session, I think we discussed some of these, and uh, we had run through some these. But let's again go through this once again and have a fresh walk through this Bitcoin KPIs. So maybe I will just like the easy ones. Bitcoin yield is easy. It's simply the percentage change in BTC share. Bitcoin gain is BTC acquired without share dilution. So, or you can say that after share dilution, what is the effective amount of Bitcoin that you bought? So you can also term this thing like that. And BTC dollar gain is simply multiply this BTC gain with dollar value. BTC dollar income. So BTC dollar income is the change in value of Bitcoin dollar gain less dividend slash interest costs. So if we have here in a equation format, no, here. BTC dollar income, unrealized gain slash loss on Bitcoin from financing minus financing costs into Bitcoin multiplier. So Bitcoin multiplier is basically BTC spread. BTC spread is here. Spread is BTC dollar gain divided by Bitcoin capital as a percentage. So Bitcoin capital is basically some proceeds raised for Bitcoin acquisition, sum of all capital raised for Bitcoin purchases. So understand Bitcoin dollar income as uh, uh, the income generated minus dividend and interest costs. Now next is Bitcoin dollar value is cumulative USD value of Bitcoin dollar gain and Bitcoin dollar income. So in Bitcoin dollar income, we also take some CAGR of Bitcoin as well here in the graph. If you guys can see here, yeah, this one. So Bitcoin dollar income keeps increasing every year. Here in this case, they have assumed 30% of Bitcoin ARR. Bitcoin CAGR, they have assumed 30% Bitcoin CAGR. Now the fourth metric is BTC torque is the ratio of Bitcoin dollar value created to BTC capital invested. So it's kind of a leverage metric wherein you can see like is this instrument increasing leverage in the balance sheet or decreasing leverage. So higher the BTC torque, it's like increasing your leverage more. So if you compare BTC torque with MNAV or so in general, for example, if the Metaplanet share is trading at 1 times NAV, then the Bitcoin torque generated is 0. So the leverage which you are getting is 0. And Bitcoin torque of 1.5 times MNAV jumps to 4.6. And compare it with the preferred stocks, and this is the reason why I am personally interested into these preferreds. Like, even if your stock is trading at 1 times MNAV, the torque which it generates is 13.3 times for the same amount of capital raised via common stock. So if you raise 100 million and if you have 1 times MNAV via their common share, you have BTC torque of 0, and in the same case you have Bitcoin torque of 13.3 times. So this torque is this torque doesn't change on the MNAV, so it's irrespective of MNAV, but it changes on these Bitcoin CAGR assumptions. Like Bitcoin CAGR, if you change this, then this goes up or down. And the next important thing is BTC multiple. BTC multiple is the ratio of Bitcoin's dollar NAV to Bitcoin's dollar equity. So here, if we have an example here, I think it's in the end. Yeah, here if you can see, the BTC multiple is similar to MNAV. Here it is similar. Let's go to preferred. Prefs, here is prefs. So yeah, here if you can see, for prefs the Bitcoin multiple increases 27.6 times even if the stock is at 1 times MNAV. If stock is at 2 times MNAV, so basically these metrics are not, they don't change to MNAV. So pref generates same BTC torque agnostic to MNAV, so they are agnostic to the multiple of the common share. And this is the reason why you raise via preferreds or via debt-like instruments in a market condition where the MNAV compression is going on. And the opposite thing you will do in case if you are in a MNAV expansion cycle. So if I can show you in the chart, so this is Metaplanet's historical MNAV chart. So in the start, like they got up till 23, and then the MNAV tops are in the decree downward trend. And it makes sense because the higher number of Bitcoins you have, generating Bitcoin yield gets tougher and tougher. So here, let us talk from a perspective of Bitcoin treasury company. Let's say my stock is trading at 22 times MNAV. At that point in time, I will issue more and more of my stock. But let's take this example where my stock is at 2 times MNAV. At this point in time, what I will do is I will issue preferreds. So because at 2 times MNAV, preferreds will generate BTC torque of nearly 12 to 13 and BTC multiple of 27.6 times. So this is why I think preferreds in a MNAV compression cycle or in a tough market conditions, they might make sense if their balance sheet supports it. Like currently the BTC rating of Metaplanet is around 55. So for $1 of debt, they have $55 worth of Bitcoin in their balance sheet. So whenever this BTC rating is higher, at that point in time, the balance sheet is strong and they can raise via preferreds. And this will help Bitcoin treasury companies to raise money even in the downtrends of their, or in the MNAV compression phase of their cycle. So this will help them, the preferred stock will help them here. And one more interesting metric which I wanted to show before going to MNAV equivalent, I think I should cover this Bitcoin ARR as well. Bitcoin ARR is simple, is Bitcoin's annual rate. Bitcoin price is Bitcoin price. Bitcoin premium is embedded premium in market capitalization related to BTC NAV. So it's similar kind of a metric to MNAV in some cases. In MNAV you take enterprise value, and in BTC premium you take market cap. So for the people who don't know what's the difference in market cap and enterprise value, so if you can see here, market cap, enterprise value for Metaplanet is 4.37 billion, and market cap, why have they not given their market cap? Yeah, their market cap is 4.33 billion. So when you are calculating enterprise value, you also take in amount of debt and cash equivalent which they have. So they have added just this number here, 40 million, sorry, into their enterprise value. Where is enterprise value? Yeah, here 4.37 billion of enterprise value and 4.33 billion of market cap. So this BTC premium and MNAV is kind of similar metrics. BTC capital is capital raised, BTC spread, I think we have covered this. Let's come to MNAV equivalent, which I like. It's if you want to analyze, it's kind of helpful. So what is MNAV equivalent? Preferred versus common. What it shows, a 3D surface mapping. So basically this chart, these guys are talking about this chart. Let me not give you textbook definition and help you understand how I understand it. So MNAV equivalent is, understand it like this. Let's say Metaplanet's MNAV is at 2 and it generates some yield at 2 times MNAV. So a preferred stock at 14 times MNAV equivalent is something like your stock has 14 times MNAV, and the yield which you generate via selling shares at 14 times MNAV is going to be similar when you issue a preferred stock which has MNAV equivalent of 14 times. So I hope you got this. I know this is hard to digest for people who don't have a finance background, but if you also, this depends on the dividend rate and Bitcoin's ARR calculations as well. But understand it like this. For example, Metaplanet stock at MNAV of 14 generates, in a hypothetical case, generates 100% Bitcoin yield. And preferred stock at 14 times MNAV. So to generate 100% Bitcoin yield via common share, you require 14 times MNAV. And that MNAV equivalent, if a preferred stock has 14 times MNAV equivalent, then that preferred stock can generate similar yield by raising less capital. So if you are getting 100% Bitcoin yield, more amount of shares are getting created, like large amount of shares are getting created. But in case of preferred stocks, because the new share issuance is not happening right now, the preferred share, the common share issuance is pushed forward into the future in case of strategy, and also similar in case of Metaplanet as well, because they have their income generation strategy. But still, how are they generating funds for their Bitcoin income generation? Basically 95% of their ATM goes into buying Bitcoin, and 5% gets allotted for their Bitcoin income generation. So this 5% is essentially coming from ATM. So this MNAV equivalent is like this, like even if you raise 100 million out of these preferreds, it will act like your stock has 14 times MNAV, and this will have an impact on your stock. It will increase leverage for your stock and in your balance sheet, because you have to pay dividends going forward into the future. And this is a chart where it shows assuming Bitcoin's ARR on the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So on x-axis they have Bitcoin ARR, on y-axis they have dividends, and on z-axis they have equivalent MNAV. So as you can see, the lower Bitcoin ARR, the lower MNAV equivalent you have, the higher dividend, the lower MNAV equivalent you have. And if Bitcoin's ARR is higher, then you have higher MNAV equivalent. If dividend rate is lower, like this doesn't change drastically, but this also has an impact. So at this point, like 30 MNAV equivalent, you need dividend rate to be at the in the lower side to have this crazy MNAV equivalent. So yeah, I think for today this is it, and